probably 2 more days before the ship's fixed, so that's plenty of time.
They're near. We'll see.
Cool.
You still interested in this?
I'm interested in information at the moment. I don't know enough to make a decision about anything.
It's nearby. Guess we'll see what this turns out to be.
Absolutely.
He gives you like the nod of tacit approval and understanding, like, it's the Oscar nod, the like, yep. Acknowledged. Moving along.
I probably eyeball the guy sitting over on the crates and then start walking up the deck of the ship.
Yeah, and I think that, like, you see him, he's just kind of, like, looking around and looking at the ship. And he's just probably just, like, hanging out, like, sitting on a crate with, like, one leg up and one leg kind of swinging down and just kind of looking at the ship, nodding his head every so often. Kind of, like, you see him, like, fixing his hair so he's becoming less helmet hair now.
Okay.
But, yeah, that's all he's doing.
All right. I would like to send 2 messages, and then I'm going to return to this gentleman if he's still there.
Okay. What do you want to send?
I guess I'll send one for right now. I got to do something else before I can send the other. I want to send a message to holy cow, Claris, and ask if there's someone I can.
I thought that was a call
to.
name, like. Not Fortune, but...
I gotta speak to Holy Cow.
Yeah.
Hey, that would be an amazing call name.
Someone in Claris, send a message to Claris to see if there's a higher up I can speak to somewhere that's not Claris, like at the Claris headquarters.
Right, like an off-site meeting.
Yeah.
Sure. How high are you looking here?
High as she goes. I want to talk to Mr. Claris.
Not like mid-level maybe.
Okay. So like
maybe
the level of gregarious, basically.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like a quadrant.
Yeah. Totally. Like whoever might be running the operations in this cluster.
Yeah, this cluster.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, you can totally send that off. You might get it in a day if they're close to here, which Claris probably operates fairly close to this system. Judging by the other systems that are in this particular sector, they may even operate out of the station here. So you'll get a message probably pretty shortly, yay or nay or anything else.
Okay, that's fine. And then I'll go ahead and head back out and see what's up with the almost noodle douche.
Yeah, so
this guy's already better than noodle douche.
Yeah.
That guy was... That guy almost caused a diplomatic incident.
Well, to be fair, you guys almost caused a diplomatic incident.
I wasn't even there.
You still almost caused a diplomatic incident.
However...
Well, we have caused multiple diplomatic incidents.
Yes.
Yeah.
Not that particular one.
If anyone were the king of diplomatic incidents, it would be literally all of you. All of you are the king of diplomatic incident.
I'll accept that.
I mean, it went fine. I don't know what you're all talking about. I handled it perfectly. Calculated.
So, yeah, Fortune, you walk up, and when he sees, like, someone approaching him, I think he kind of stands up and, like, kind of brushes off his flight suit, and you walk up and you say something, I assume.
Yeah, I probably. So my pilot said you wanted to talk to somebody from the ship or something. I don't know. She wasn't super clear.
Yeah, I was looking for the owner, and I was looking to make apologies about being a little bit late to helping y'all out.
Late? Sure. What?
Well,
Help
you
us
understand that this is the ship. This is This is, and I think you see him like pull out a scrap of paper, and he looks at it and he's like, Freighty McFreight Face 2, yeah?
That is this ship, yep.
Yeah, this is, y'all sent a distress call, by the way of Commander Hartfield. And yeah, and okay. I was the contact that made my way over to y'all, but I wanted to say that I'm sorry about there was something wrong with the communications. Apparently they did not recognize the commander's access codes when he first called in, and I know it's not my fault, but I know no one else is going to apologize, so I wanted to do so on behalf of the West Wind. On behalf of me at least. I tried to get him as quick as I could.
Okay.
And I'm sorry about the extra damage I'm sure your ship took, but yeah, that was I just wanted to say that.
Okay.
And also, if possible, I would like to meet this pilot of yours, because I have never seen someone fly this class of freighter like that before in my life. It was truly remarkable.
You were just talking to her.
Oh, you mean Gogo? Yeah, we met earlier. She said she was the engineer.
No, she doesn't listen to anybody. So she was probably just agreeing with whatever you said.
Oh, I see. That seems like an odd way to communicate, but I know that I know that sometimes.
And I'm like, yeah.
Yeah, I think he says I know that sometimes I also communicate strangely. So I can understand that. Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Well that. I mean that's all, and oh yeah, and I wanted to give my contact details just in case y'all are in the area and I might be on patrol, so that you could contact me directly, because you know the West Wind Communications, they won't recognize you, especially like this, but I like to help out wherever I'm needed, if that's okay.
That will come in handy. I appreciate that.
Yeah, here you go. And he, pulls out his compad stick to give you the data, or, swipes the data over to your compad or whatever.
Yeah, I pass my contact info to him.
Yeah, and so...
And I'll probably say, if you ever need anything transported anywhere in this place of... I forget what the whole thing is called. Not the sector, but... Yeah.
I think he laughs and he says, "Ha! Have you ever heard of this? It's this. I'm not sure. Vegetable. It's called corn. You ever heard of it?"
Yeah.
Yeah. So back where I'm from, there's a lot of it, and we have a lot of transports that transport some of that stuff. So I would appreciate if you ever come across any. Sometimes my stomach, it misses home. You understand? And if you ever come across any, I would surely buy some from you. Not probably how much your freighter can hold, but maybe like a crate of it. It takes a long time to go bad, that stuff. It's good for a while.
I'll keep that in mind if we come across anywhere. And where is home? Just so I know where I might be picking this up from.
Yeah, and I think he says, "Oh, well, you ain't. Oh, yeah, no, you probably wouldn't. You probably wouldn't have. It's a small place. It's not even. I mean, it's kind of in the middle of nowhere.
You'd be surprised.
Yeah, I think he's like, oh well. Hold on, I'm grabbing the name real quick that I wrote down somewhere because I didn't have it up.
Scroll through the sector guide real quick.
There it is. Yeah. Oh, is this
place
it?
could grow corn.
Yes, Paphos.
I was waiting for one.
I was waiting for one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it this one? Nope. I did actually have a place written down for this guy, but I just, of course, lost those notes.
And you said this guy is a what in Westwind? We're writing this down.
He's a CW3.
Chief Warrant Officer 3.
Yeah, which is pretty high, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
Where the hell is this
Hooray,
place?
contacts.
Yeah.
Did-
Don't shut him down so hard he doesn't want to help us out in the future. Just pretend.
Yeah.
Just let him talk at you.
Yeah, just let him talk
Yeah.
at you. That's how it works.
Mhm.
Why do I feel like I've looked at all these and I didn't see it? What the hell?
You know,
Ah,
I'm just thinking.
there it is. It's
The Rick and Morty episode where everything is corn. They go to the planet and like,
Yeah.
Oh my god.
oh my
Yeah.
god, it's all corn. Get in the sh- Everything is corn.
yeah, absolutely. Let me just make sure that did I write it down? Oh, you know where I wrote it down?
No.
Oh yeah, okay. This is where I wrote it down. I wrote it down in the GM notes on Roll20, and that's why I lost it. So he actually is from Adrastus, believe it or not.
Drastis.
That's the flea market planet.
Okay. Yeah.
That's the trade hub. They have a lot of agriculture there as well.
Okay.
Because they, even though it's a mystical biosphere, they have to like import and grow their own. To be sustainable, and there's a lot of there's a bit of agriculture there on that planet.
Nice. I'm like, well, I've been there.
Oh yeah.
At least twice.
Well, that's good. What did you think of it?
The last time we weren't there for very long, so I didn't form much of an opinion.
I got you. Did you stay in the city, or did you ever go into the rural areas?
Like I said, we weren't there for very long, so we just kind of landed, got some supplies, and then took off.
Yeah, that makes sense. I understand. That's what most people do. They don't. A lot of them they don't go out into the country, but it's all right. I mean, it's not for everyone. I understand that.
Okay. Well, if we ever go through the area again, I'll see what we can do.
Yeah, and if you could if you could pass that, and he kind of like motions to his contact info, pass it along to Gogo. I'd be much obliged.
Well, I'll have to ask her. She's particular.
Oh, it's fine, but you know, just in case she ever wants to talk about flying ships again, I'd be available. I ain't got much else going on besides flying.
You know, never mind. All right, I'll let her know.
Alright, I appreciate that. You said your name was Fortune.
Correct.
That's a good name. That's a good, strong name. Yeah.
All right, and what was your name again?
My name's Robert.
Robert.
Yeah, I like to go by my personal name. I don't much like my job name.
Job? What's your job name?
Well, you see, and you kind of like he kind of like shows you his nameplate, which you notice had been like kind of like curled up and like tucked in. And you see that his nameplate says Fizzle, Fizzle.
Awesome. So
He's like, yeah, they call me Chief Fizzle or Fizz sometimes.
Oh my god, that's the most adorable thing.
like, all right.
Suddenly, Gogo's opinion of this has turned a total 180.
No, Gogo wouldn't think that's adorable. I personally
Megan's opinion of this
That's
has
adorable.
turned 180.
to be completely clear.
Yeah.
Well,
He's like,
that's,
yeah, I like Fizz. Sometimes they call me Ace, but I don't know. I never really got with the terminology. Most people just call me Robert, if they're my friends, which I hope that we are.
Yeah, a little early to be saying that.
I understand. I'm just a very friendly person. I like to make friends.
I can tell.
Well, Fortune, you take care now. I probably should be getting back. My fighter wing probably is looking for me by now. Although they may be drunk, I might have to go pull them out of some hole on this damn station, but I appreciate it.
All right. Well, you have a wonderful day.
Yeah, you too, Fortune. And again, just if you could just, and this is like as he's walking away, if you could just pass that along to and then as he's saying that, he probably backs into somebody, and like turns around and like something topples to the ground, and he like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. Let me help you with that, and you see your ability to escape.
Yeah, I turn around and I start walking away. I'm like, this guy's a pilot?
Yeah, and so I think you say
pilot?
it's perfect because you say that, and then you like look down at his contact info. And he gave you like the standard West Wind bio information, and you like begin scrolling down on it, and it doesn't stop the first time you scroll, and you can see like all of these decorations and titles and awards under his name. Like the list goes on quite deep, and yeah, to anyone on the outside, this probably would mean nothing, but to you. You don't just get these. Like, the man has his decorations, and I think that like probably the one that stands out is it says 63 confirmed, 1 pending. As far as his like battle record goes, which is like significant for a pilot of his age and stature.
Yeah. Damn. All right. Well, I favorite the contact.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. he's a good guy to have on call.
Speed dial.
He can Deus Ex Machina directly into the fight that you guys are dying from.
Like, no.
So yeah, there you go. You met Robert Fizzle.
I was intentionally not saying anything, Jordan, because I just wanted to hear you keep talking in that accent.
I know, that's fine. That's fine.
Okay.
For those, that's really bad, like, kind of Louisianan Southern for you, Will, just in case you were curious.
Well, actually, it wasn't that bad.
Really? Oh, I will take that as a compliment then.
Yeah, I have a lot of family in North Carolina, so I can do
like
a good Southern accent.
Yeah, the Southern, little bit Cajun in there.
Yeah, but it was actually pretty good.
Good.
A couple of the words ended up being almost like a Northern Bostonian, but most of it was good.
Yeah. It's all the same if you really think about it.
He's Boston Cajun.
That's just called Bayesian.
Yeah, I was gonna say that'd be Bostasian. So.
All right.
On
to stars without numbers.
Why are you licking my elbow, Cat? Do I have something on my elbow that requires licking?
Not anymore.
Right?
Correct. I believe your assessment of the situation is correct, Matt.
I was going to be a lot nastier and say, yeah, your weenus.
Correct. Ha ha ha. So, I think, Dr. Fisher, you said you wanted to, like, rush out and go meet Oscar, right? Is that something that you said?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So Oscar, Fortune, as you're walking up the ramp, Dr. Fisher like comes tumbling down it with like pulling his stuff on, right?
Yeah, I probably catch him as he's falling.
Yeah. And you trundle out and you see Oscar like down at the end of the hallway, like turning in towards the shuttle bay. And Oscar, you probably hear like somebody come running up behind you, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you just turn and slice them in half? I mean, that would be the appropriate reaction.
GG.
Yeah, exactly. Just
Wasted.
slice in half. No, I'm
GTA.
Waste.
Yeah.
Wasted. Yeah. He turns around.
You see
He
Dr.
does not.
Fisher.
He does not plunge a sword in the general direction.
Okay. Good.
Oscar.
You okay, Fisher?
Yes. Okay.
I know the space battle was stressful on everyone, but you really need to relax at this point. We're in good company.
Yeah, just things have been rather stressful. But
I think
anyway.
Oha says, "Speak for yourself."
It's a turn of phrase you have to understand. It's just... never mind.
I was merely wondering if there was any need of a physician from where you would be going.
Hopefully not. You must understand I was not given many details. None, in fact, other than a shuttle would be picking us up shortly. I have no reason to believe that after all of this, the difficulty seeking these individuals out and them communicating with me at Natalia's behest, there are easier ways to kill us, you know. Some even actively trying. But it's neither here nor there.
Well, then I guess what would you believe is best? Would having a physician to watch your back be helpful? Or would you believe I would only get in your way?
Don't give me the, what did Gogo call it? Puppy eyes. He says, if you wish to come. If you think that the rest of the crew here is fine on their own, won't tell you not to. Given the subject matter, can see how this would be of direct interest to you, but I cannot say how they will respond to others coming with.
I think Oha probably looks at you and says, "And what am I? Chopped Sriek?"
You are one who might directly join their ranks. This is a psychic association.
I think she says, "I don't know if you noticed, but I'm not one for associations, but I feel as though at least someone must accompany you. For you to die in the cold void of space would be quite the tragedy."
I have no intentions of such, but I appreciate the sentiment. Fisher, if you would like to come, I will say nothing contrary to that. Just understand that I do not exactly know what we are walking into.
Yes, perhaps this will also serve as a chance for me to claim my head somewhat.
Coming with or not?
Yes.
Speak clearly.
Coming with you. Matters on the ship can be quite overwhelming at times.
You are right in this. We should be moving quickly, though. Do you have everything with you that you would require? Should be gone, hopefully, no more than 48 hours tops.
Yes. I believe I have everything.
Oscar nod. He just starts.
Yeah, and I think
yeah.
I think Oha, who stands taller than you, Dr. Fisher, she kind of links her arm in yours, and she says, "Good. It will give me a chance to get to know you as well." And she kind of like turns her
This
alien
in the
looking
back
face
of
to
my
you.
head is also exactly what what Oscar was thinking. It's like, okay, great. She won't have to ask me any questions about him now. She'll just do it to him.
Yeah, and I think that as you're walking, Dr. Fisher, you realize this probably will not be a head-clearing trip.
Brain dump, maybe, but not necessarily quiet reflection.
She has ways of getting information out of you.
I'm sure she does.
Perhaps more or less so than Oscar. So the three of you get on a shuttle bound for the approximate location, like the moon that's residing on the fourth planet, which is probably the moon Tia. And the engines power up, and we see the group of you flying towards it. And we probably get a slash cut at that point to the group of you arriving approximately 6 hours later. And when you arrive, there's a lot of people getting off. You notice the air is much cooler here. It's very cold on this moon. It doesn't have a breathable atmosphere, but it has like these little trams that kind of run you to the different outposts and stuff. And they're all kind of like prefab homes that have been set up here by Westwind for the Tan that are living on planet and not in their, escape ships. And I think that during the journey, Oha is just... I'm gonna use the word plowing you with questions, Dr. Fisher, to the point where I think actually I need you to make me a roll of some sort, to not
endurance check.
Yeah, something of the ilk. I think. I mean, I'm tempted to make you roll survival, to be perfectly honest.
I think a physical save is appropriate. Physical or mental?
I think it's a mental save in this. Yeah. Dr. Fisher, can you make me a mental
endurance
save?
Okay, sure. Why not?
Okay.
I mean, this is right after I've been frying my brain with the whole Shannon Go-Go situation.
Yeah, so you probably
Don't put this on me.
it starts off as perhaps a friendly conversation, but then you realize it's quickly turned into an interrogation. And no matter how defensive or evasive you try and make your answers or dismissive, you seem to be giving more than intended.
I mean, would Fisher be... How upfront would he be? Would he be evasive? Or, like what kind of stuff is she asking him?
So, it is... it starts off with, so tell me, where you grew up, tell me about your life, what you've been doing, tell me about your research, tell me, and then it's like, tell me, who'd you work for? Like, where was your first job? What things you've been working on lately? And then probably, even more personal, there's probably, have you ever been married? Do you have any kids? Where did you live during this period of time that you were doing that thing? And then it probably devolves into, I think you realize, Dr. Fisher, that she's highly intelligent, and she's taking things that you said, and then, 4 or 5 questions later, popping them back up on you, so that you're forced to either answer in a different way or give more information that you weren't expecting to have to give. She asked about your research, and you're like, oh yeah, I do MES research, and she's like, oh yeah. She asks you a couple of innocuous questions, and then comes back with so when you were researching this theory that you mentioned briefly, right? She's like, when you were researching this theory, did you find that this or this evidence were conclusive, right? Like something out of left field, and you're kind of well, actually, and then et cetera, et cetera. But I do want to know what your general emotional feeling is throughout this process, Dr. Fisher. What's the array of emotions you proceed through during this hefty interrogation?
Tiredness, I think, is a big one. But slightly annoyed just from how invasive I feel she's being. I don't necessarily think she's being kind of hostile in any way, just this is far too invasive and energy driven and in my face than what I can handle, certainly at this moment in time.
Yeah, totally. Oscar, do you try and provide any assistance to your friend?
I think I do a little bit of like the anti-wingman. Yeah, I try and like interfere with the conversation occasionally, like to give him a minute to breathe. Like if there's, so I think Oscar maybe didn't even expect that it was going to be this much of like a grill session after the questions that she had asked him previously about the crew. So I think like occasionally where there's an opening, he does say like, you know, if she's asking something about his former employment, he says, you know, inject some details like about their trip to Eurypylos, like to just try and give him a minute to breathe. Like not, oh, by the way, 2 of our crew members are zombies details, but
yeah.
Like, oh yeah, it's you know, the medical tech there is, you know, fascinating. I just actually got this bioscanner installed and just
so I think that's
kind of running interference a little bit.
Her reaction to that is, if it is topical, she's interested in what you have to say about it, and then as soon as you try and maybe do a little bit too much diverting,
no, it's purely on Oscar is
but like
so
when,
far
like,
gone that
but like if you start talking about like their medical stuff is like, you know, quite expansive. I got this biostasis. When you start saying that stuff, even though like it was on the subject of Eurypylos, but you get away from Dr. Fisher more.
There's just none of it being had.
Well, Dr. Fisher doesn't notice anything, but you get a strong sense of that's enough, right? Like that's enough out of you. I'm not going to continue that conversation, Smell. And that's when she usually turns back to Dr. Fisher and
sure. After a couple instances of that, he gives up. he like he kind of maybe gives Fisher a shrug or something, and he's like, "Oh, good luck." You know, just like knowing shrug / you volunteered for this.
Yeah, and I think that the important part is, regardless of how true or false you answer, because she'll figure it out if it's true anyway later. I think that towards the end, like, she's probably saying, and perhaps you're annoyed at this point or whatever, and she's like, "So, Dr. Fisher, it's been lovely chatting with you, but I really would like to know, you are the resident physician, and certainly with a crew this size, and through all of the dangerous stuff you've all done, there are... Well, do you also act as psychologist to them?"
It isn't my area of expertise, but should there be a problem, then I hope that they feel safe enough to tell it, to confide with me.
Interesting. So you would say that there was a lack of that expertise aboard your ship?
Lack may be stretched, certainly less than what you would find in a fully set up doctor's hospital, but this is merely a frigate.
Interesting. And there's kind of that silence that falls over the group of you. And she goes,
We've
Well-
gotten by so far.
yes, I can see how far you've gotten by. Seems unreasonable. Anyway, that'll be enough for now, Dr. Fisher. I'll have more questions later, but we should really focus on the task at hand. Oscar, or Uskurnt, where are we to go?
I give them our coordinates. I expect we'll be hearing... rewind.
You actually have coordinates to a meeting place.
Okay, yeah, he says as much. He says, they were scarce on details. I have coordinates for where we're supposed to meet them, but not much more.
Yes, well, I'm sure we can work it out when we get there. Come, let us find a proper transport.
Mhm.
Yeah, and she just kind of like walks off, leaving the two of you perhaps standing next to each other for a moment.
He just looks at Fisher. Like, at least she hasn't tried to kill us yet.
I mean, for some of the company we've been forced to keep, then that is certainly an improvement.
I assumed that she would be off at our first stop. He just pauses a sec. Maybe he like shakes his head just slightly and then starts off after.
Yeah, totally. So the group of you get on a tram that's going to take you, and it's like an automated tram, with an automated armature that pilots it to a predefined set of coordinates where it's to drop you off. Basically like a TL4 bus, but has to be environmentally sealed and stuff. And it takes you over to a location where you get out, and it's kind of it looks like a bunch of warehouse areas. And you exit into an environmentally sealed bus stop, as I said. It connects to the ship. You get out, and again, these are all prefab, so it's kind of janky a little bit. Everything kind of looks square and out of place. You can see where the snow was, not snow, but the ice was kind of there's up and cleared to remove all of the to place these things down. And again, it's very barren because there's no atmosphere here, nothing grows here, that shit doesn't happen. So it's basically like being on Pluto, except not deathly.
Poor Pluto.
Rest in peace, Pluto.
Rip planetary status. So yeah, you guys head into the main hub where you can see there are a couple of probably a couple of Tan just kind of meandering about. This is kind of the epitome of
Oscar's
a
trying
train
to
station.
take in. He is, because this is such an unfamiliar place. Oscar is definitely on his guard.
Yeah.
Because they can't really verify who these. At the end of the day, he's still not. He has no idea who's really talking to him. He doesn't know if this is a ploy to get the group separated, that kind of thing. So he's taking in the situation. He's definitely in full Oscar mode.
Yeah, and I think
as they're moving along.
Yeah, and since you're doing that, I think the first thing you notice right away is there are far more armatures here than there are actual living people, because of the fact that they can obviously work outside, and almost every single one of them you look is designated West Wind standard model, worker armatures and stuff like that, that are just kind of picking up crates and moving them from place to place, and there's probably a couple of ones that are integrated, have integrated systems with lifts and vehicles and stuff like that are moving stuff around, and it's kind of like I said, a warehouse, factory / train station /
Sure.
hub location. And there's very clearly an information desk kind of up in the front, and again, it's just kind of basically like a table, right? It's not like a desk. It's not set up. It's basically just like a table that has like the word information on the front of it. That's essentially the living, status they have here.
The human, or the ton element, I suppose I should say,
exactly.
is not super emphasized. Okay.
Yeah, because what could they take from when fleeing their homes, right? Pretty much and I think that's key to note as well. Everything you see here, with the exception of what the Ton are basically carrying themselves, is Westwind equipment.
So
the armatures, the buildings, everything that is beyond like the clothing and equipment that the Ton actually are carrying with them, all appears to be Westwind.
What does all of this appear like? Do I get a sense of what all this cargo is? Is it like raw material? Is it robotics? Is it like
I think that you probably see on the side there's a lot of it is like supplies, right? Like rations, food, water. Some of it is like household items, like hygiene stuff, those kind of product. There is some of it that's like there's probably a couple of crates that you see go by of like type A, type B batteries to power, various things. It has that kind of FEMA refugee helping assist the dehoused people feel to it, with all the equipment going back and forth.
It's like a high-tech camp for displaced people.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. Where instead of FEMA workers, you have armatures, basically. And then the couple of, like, Ton that are kind of in charge of that.
Good stuff.
That'd be a good way to describe it. And then there's little, like, tunnels and stuff, or, like, little, like, sheltered, like, hallways that lead off to the other buildings in like this little complex that you're in, and you know that you're supposed to meet somebody like a couple of buildings down wherever the coordinates are leading you to.
Yeah, just taking all of this in and continuing to follow the
okay
navigate to.
So yeah, as you guys are traveling through, there are some situations where like it's a little bit cramped, and you encounter more and more Ton the deeper and deeper you go into the complex, and they are surprised to see you and Oha, Oscar, and they seem a bit wary of Dr. Fisher, because Dr. Fisher, you don't wear any like outwardly facing Westwind insignia, right?
No, not you.
Yeah, and so like non-identified Westwind human seems to put some of the Ton unease, for good reason, I would say. But I think that surprise is mostly for you and Oha, and kind of like the that not desperation, but like you get a great sense of kinship from these people, seeing other aliens. Even if they're not their own kind. A couple of them greet you warmly, I would say, which would be odd for somebody who's traipsing through your home, right? But yeah, certainly. I think that's the kind of atmosphere you get.
Yeah, so that probably feels a little peculiar, but I mean, Oscar would understand, like, he knows how bad it is. Like, one of the reasons why Oha is even here is to try and preempt this from happening to his own people.
Right.
Like, that's part of machinations in that direction anyhow. So like, he's on the same page. Like, he gets it.
And I think it's a bit sobering too to see, like, this could easily be this, like, the residents of Raimondi in this same situation. Not easily, but you understand.
Oh yeah,
the tides could have easily been reversed in this scenario.
Yeah, the Syriac easily could have been first on the list.
Right. Exactly. And so I think that as you walk through, you get kind of the strange atmosphere, and I think there's probably a moment too where Oha kind of like places like a hand on your arm, Oscar, and she says, "These people they are wounded deeply, not physically, but in their souls."
This is part of what we must prevent on Raimondi.
Of course, I agree.
Anything in that direction will benefit these Ton also. Somebody has to stand up.
She nods and she says, "Well, it at least appears that Westwind is doing that."
Yes, I don't mean to imply no one is, but more must be done.
I can see that, yes.
I could perhaps try to set up a contract through Westwind for some doctors to visit here. Yes.
These people do not seem to need doctors. I don't know. What do you know of Tan physiology, Dr. Fisher?
Ton, I'm afraid, very little, but I have some acquaintances that would be able to handle the situation better than I.
Contrary to popular belief, the Tan are quite adaptable to environments. It is a strange way to think, but even though they live most of their lives on their own home system, their unique physiology allows them to adapt to almost any climate that has a breathable atmosphere, as you and I know it, at least. They can sustain much greater environmental hazards than we could even dream of, especially Uskert and I. These people don't need physical doctors. They need hope, I would say. Something to believe in.
What they need is karaoke.
Maybe. You don't know.
Hey, karaoke
There's
lifts the spirit.
Nothing to soothe a Ton soul like karaoke.
Gogo bursts in, speakers attached to the ship. Screaming, "Don't stop." Chan is screaming, "Don't stop believing" at the top of his lungs.
We'll radio back. It'll be done.
Not canon.
Oh, not canon. Okay, sure. So eventually, the three of you arrive at your predetermined designation, and it appears to be a supply building. You've gone through a couple of habitation modules, and then a larger supply building, then a couple habitation modules, and a larger facilities building, and then a couple habitation modules, and then a supply building, and then inside the supply building, the coordinates lead you to the some of the loading dock area where the trucks can pull up from the back, and they enter into the bay, and then it seals. It does the double door thing where door comes up, enters in, closes, pressurizes, opens up, delivers all the stuff. And you're instructed to go down to loading bay number 2 out of 3, and or at least that's where coordinates are leading you. And so, Oscar, throughout this place, you don't see any there's no Tan or humans or Syriac for that matter. There's just these armatures that are kind of doing their automated processes, moving crates to and from. You can see there's a big digital board that receives orders, and then you see it you see the order, it shows up in green, and then it goes to red and says assign to gives the armature designation number, and then it flies off the screen, and then another one comes up assigned to designation number, flies off the screen. So it's kind of like this, the lighting in here is a bit dim because there isn't a whole lot of need for a lot of light, and also we're on limited power. Like, we can't just be burning batteries to do this. So it's like this weird, like, flashing kind of red and green that kind of washes over the docking bays here.
Yeah, he's thus far, like, I don't think anything is really, he's going with it. I don't think anything has set off any terrible warning alarms. I think he's a little bit maybe skeptical of the whole thing as being a wild goose chase, because they've been walking for like what, an hour now plus.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, and like these people seemed to say it was fairly urgent, and yet they were left to yeah, so he's like maybe like a little bit irritated. I don't know that irritated is even a word, just a little confused about the whole situation, like getting mixed signals from this group constantly.
Yeah.
He's questioning, like, what the hell am I doing here?
Right. And, so you arrive, and it's the place you're supposed to meet, right? Yeah. Do you, like, send a message, like, here, question mark?
No, because the only thing that he had previously when he tried to respond, it said that it was a dead number.
Correct.
So he's just gonna try and look purposeful, like look somewhat conspicuous, and hope that so it's, I don't see a living soul in this whole place. It's just all armatures.
Yeah, in this place it's just armatures, and again, they're like basic West Wind design, right? Where they're just like, they have manipulation arms. Some of them are probably like on like little wheels or tracks. They're not like walking, droids or anything like that. They're basically just, just go, like, they're basically like glorified forklifts, right?
Yeah.
Where they just like go to a shelf, they pick up a crate, they come down, they drop it back off. There are probably a couple of like different designs as well, like kind of just meandering throughout. But yeah, no, it's basically it.
So we're here, and there's no obvious signs of what we're meant to do.
Correct.
Oh, I think Oscar looks to his companions, says, well, these are the coordinates.
Yeah, and Oha probably like looks around. She says, "All right, and what now?"
That is a very good question.
Yeah.
When the number is dead, so I suppose now we wait as long as we are patient.
Do you say anything, Dr. Fisher?
You sure this isn't some weird, messed up trap or something? Because with our luck, I don't like just waiting around.
If someone meant us dead on this planet, I expect we would be dead already. If not, certainly we would have dealt with the situation.
Yeah.
Perhaps that was a bit too morbid.
So as you're like having this conversation, all of you, the two of you, roll me perception checks.
Meh. It's a pass. It's a weak pass, but
yeah, I think Oscar seven's enough. You see, kind of like approaching through the shadows and the weird flashing green light, you see you see two individuals. They appear to be like hooded and cloaked, and their hands are like folded in front of them, almost like monks, almost, right? Like where they have like the large kind of baggy hoods and cloaks that kind of go to the floor and kind of swish along. And you see the two of them. They appear to be walking quite quickly down the rows. And they approach and they kind of step into like the little bit of light that's between the two of you, and there's like a silence that falls over you guys. You know, there's that awkward moment of like, you know, who addresses who first, right?
So do you talk first? Do I talk first?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
And one of them brings their hands up to their hood and kind of pulls it back, and you can see it's a man whose head is completely shaved. He's Tan, and you can see he has a symbol upon his right, like on his forehead in between his eyes. And
is it one of the sparrows?
No.
Good.
Jesus.
And the other one pulls their hood back, and you can see that it's a female Tan whose head is also completely shaven and has a symbol, but a different one on her forehead in between her eyes. And the male, he speaks and he says, "You are the one sent?"
Yes. These are my companions. You may call me Oscar.
Yeah, and I think he doesn't reply, and he just looks over at the woman and nods his head, and the woman nods her head, and you can see she digs in her robes, and she pulls out like a data disk, and she focuses on it, and you see it rise slightly, and then move towards you.
Mm-hmm.
You snatch it out of the air.
Snatch would be a strong word. He takes it non-aggressively.
Sure.
He wants to snatch it and yell, "What the fuck is going on?"
Yeah.
But yes, he takes the data disk gingerly.
Yeah.
And
and
looks at it. Are there any like markings on it, or
it's completely
it's
devoid
just
of all markings?
Okay.
And I think that the male Tan says again. He says, "Everything will be explained, at least to what you are to have. The mission, should you want it, is included. As well, once that is seen once, it will destroy itself. Do not make attempts to copy."
Certainly not. You will know when this is complete.
Natalia
Or
sends
will
her
I
regards.
need to contact you?
Yeah, I think he says Natalia sends her regards. She says that you and your crew are capable. We hope so. For your sake and ours.
This mission, is it to prove ourselves, or is it actually of benefit?
If you believe that saving the race of aliens is proving yourself.
Good enough by me. He says somewhat sarcastically, like, yeah, I would consider that.
Yeah. And I think he kind of looks at his companion nods her head again, and he goes, "There is one more thing. You are not alone in your quest for this. There are others, not with us, and others with us. Do not trust those you encounter that may know about this, and if you do, ensure that they give you some sign, which will be explained, to know that they are friendly. Do you understand these words as I have said them?"
Yes. If this is as worthwhile as you make it out to be, no surprise that there are various entities seeking it.
Indeed. I am glad that you understand. You are certainly better than the last.
I hear that occasionally.
Pray tell you hear it more. And I think that Dr. Fisher, you're kind of just like looking around like this is really awkward. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
And
I warned you, Fisher.
the only like moving thing in here besides the armatures is that board that's blinking and flashing. And you see 5 new jobs fly to the screen. And one of them says, capture Uskern Droxhateg. Assigned. And then the next one says, capture Dr. Philip Fisher. Assigned. Exterminate unknown Sriek. Assigned. Exterminate unknown male Tan. Assigned. Exterminate unknown female Tan. Assigned. Do you do the tug on shirt thing?
Yeah, it's Oscar. We have to leave right now.
Yeah, and I think you point to it, and Oscar, you look up, begin registering what's on the screen. The 2 Tan look up, and they look at each other, they pull their hoods up, and are gone.
Fuckers.
And that's a great place to take our break.
Sure is.
Or a terrible place to take our break.
So let's be back at, how about 20 after? Sound
That
good?
works.
Perfect.
Good
See
by
you
me.
then. Alright guys, we're gonna take a break. Be back for the second half of Olympus Rises. Stay tuned. We'll be right back, I promise.